The opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and not necessarily those of WKTV Community Media.
Family-owned Palermo Pizza underwrites this episode of Grand Rapids Ghost Hunters Paranormal Podcast, located at 901 Gazan Parkway, Southwest Wyoming, and available at 616-531-8300.
Brought to you by WKTV. I'm Wayne Thomas. Welcome to another Grand Rapids Ghost Hunters Paranormal Podcast. As always, we ask that you please keep an open mind about things that you might not easily believe as we explore the mysterious. Let's start out with meeting my co-host, longtime paranormal investigator, Brandon Jose.
Hello, everybody.
And then we're having a guest co-host setting in for Kim Colleen. She's been on the show many times. Shetan Noir.
Hi, guys.
Our featured guest is Linda Pomranky.
Hello.
Linda, this has been anticipated, long anticipated. We want to hear about, what you're doing in the Bigfoot field. If people haven't caught on, this is a Bigfoot show tonight. So yeah, you can see on your poster there behind you. Tell us about what you're up to with your group and what you're doing in the Bigfoot.
Okay. Well, I started a new group about 2 months ago, and an investigative group, and we're trying to get out in the field to investigate reports. We're taking reports, sighting reports, and researching, doing that kind of thing. It's a new group. There's a couple people in my group that I know for a while. One of them I've known all my life. She actually is my cousin Lori. Her and her fiance Bill are in my group, and we have a young guy from the Flint area. He's a politician, very busy guy. He joined my group, and we have a guy from Southeast Michigan. His name is Jeff Treadway. He's in my group. And right now we're just waiting to get back out in the field because the weather at night here, it's still so cold in Michigan. So we're having some of us are having some trouble getting out at night in this kind of weather. Recently, we had a sighting report in central Michigan, and we followed up on that. It actually happened like within a week after I got this group together. A woman contacted me, and she had a roadside crossing. In her headlights, she saw one crossing the road. And after talking with her, we went over there and investigated the scene of the crossing, and we found a set of tracks. And then later on that night, in the late afternoon, two of us went back, and we were trying to cast more. Altogether, we found like 3 separate sets of tracks in this area. But the traffic was so bad there with semi trucks on this highway that I had to put a stop to it. I actually almost got ran over by a semi truck. So I said, if this isn't worth it, it's not worth losing my life. So maybe there's some that might disagree with that, but it was just a cast track. So we got pictures of the tracks and measurements and all that, but the traffic was so bad. But that was kind of neat though, because that actually was our first investigation that we did as a team, and it was just not expected to get a sighting report like that just almost immediately. The lady was very frightened. She said all the way home from work, she was on her way home from work, she had to call her boyfriend, and he had to talk to her the rest of the way home on their cell phone because she was so scared. She turned the corner and onto this highway, and there it was up in the middle of the road. She put her brights on and her brakes, and she saw the profile view, but she didn't see it from the front because it was crossing the road. It was going. She said it was well over 6 feet tall, long hair, bipedal, really long arms down to the knees. And it went ahead and ran across the road, jumped a fence, and went into some woods over there. And she was in shock. And a week later, after this happened, after I contacted her, her and her fiance that she lived with packed up their stuff and they moved to Florida. I think that had anything to do with it, but I question that. But Florida's not the place you want to go if you're trying to avoid Bigfoots.
Yeah, they're high on the list. I know. Right.
Yeah.
You scared her right out of the state. She left the state. She got so scared.
Well, she didn't come out and tell me that, but I kind of get the impression that might have something to do with it because she lived right in this area where the sighting occurred, where this crossing occurred. It was on a river right by the Muskegon River, and there's a whole bunch of houses there on this river. So this is in a highly populated area. I mean, there's lots of woods and state land nearby, but still it's a highly populated area.
Right. This isn't by your house though, right? Not by your house.
This isn't by my house. This isn't far from my house. This is west of my house.
Okay.
This is a different county, not in my county. I live in Midland County.
Why don't you try turning your volume down a little bit more, see if that helps, because you're still breaking up on our end. And then
Is that better?
well, we'll find out. And then you're not exactly by West Branch either, right? Where Phil Shaw's from?
No. West Branch is north of me.
But your area is a lot of sites, a lot of sightings in your area?
Well, if you look at the BFRO website, they do have some sightings in there for Midland County. Most of them are very old. And I think there's a lot more sightings that go on that's reported to the BFRO. I've taken sighting reports from people that have reported sightings right here in this county, and they're not even at the BFRO website, those reports. So basically, it's people that are seeing things, but they're not reporting it to the BFRO.
You want people to call you directly for sightings, if they have a sighting?
Yes. Yes, I have a cell phone number. Anybody can call me if they have a sighting report. It's 989-404-0807.
Excellent. Yeah, I think they heard that. We're still hearing your plenty of volume. So if you can go down a little bit more, I don't know if that's going to help. It's probably not it, but I'm hoping the show is.
If I turn my volume down, Wayne, I'm not going to be able to hear you at all.
Oh, you won't be able to hear me. Oh, yeah, you got to be able to hear us.
Hardly hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
How about my phone?
Well, sometimes you're fine, but maybe it seems like maybe when you're not looking directly at it, I don't know. I'm not sure what the answer is, but you have Bigfoot Discovery Days coming up, and that's the big thing we want to talk about because Phil Shaw was here already, give us a little introduction to that. And Shetan Noir is listed as one of the speakers there. So,
yep.
Yeah, so maybe we'll hear about that a little bit. Shetan, what you got planned for now? Bigfoot Discovery Days, that's over in West Branch.
Yes.
And that's
Iron
it.
Park.
It's Iron Park, right?
Yes, it's going to be an outdoor event. So hopefully that allows us to have a good turnout of people who want to come out and listen to it, with maintaining the social distancing. Masks are still going to be important to use, but it's outdoors. It's at Irons Park, and we're hoping for good weather and a good turnout, and hoping everybody wants to come out and listen to presentations about Sasquatch, Bigfoot, that hairy man in the forest that we occasionally get a glimpse of.
Right. May 15th. So
Yes.
it's coming up. So I'm glad we could do these shows beforehand. And now it just so happens that our friends from Grass Paranormal are putting their paranormal summit on.
Yes, unfortunately they picked the same weekend. So I will be at the Bigfoot Discovery Days. Last year I did the SS City of Milwaukee exploration that and ghost hunt that they had. I think they did it in June last year. Maybe it was May. I for some reason I remember it as June, but it could have been May. I did that last year.
I think it was May, and then COVID pushed it back.
Yeah.
I think they did it in
So-
June. It was originally scheduled in May, I think.
Yeah. So it's a really cool ship to check out, but this year things kind of got changed around. So I'm doing Bigfoot Discovery Days there in West Branch, and so hopefully they'll find some good ghost activity there. But I'm hoping for good Bigfoot activity in West Branch.
Right. Now, Brandon, you're going to Ludington to the Grass Paranormal Summit. Are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to be going to that one. So
Okay.
a little report on
Okay.
that, maybe.
So there's some
Podcast after that.
competition. Yeah, some
Yeah.
competition right there that weekend, unfortunately. Now, Linda, you're the MC for the,
For the town hall meeting, yes.
okay. And then your speakers, Shetan, what do you plan on talking about then at the Discovery Days?
So the subject that I'm speaking on is I've written a recent article on it that will be in Squatch Digest magazine, but it has to deal with how well the Bigfoots can camouflage, and people scoff at this idea that the Bigfoots camouflage themselves to blend in with the woods around them, but there's many species that do this naturally, and I'm bringing with me the facts and information about it to show people the different ways that natural occurring species do this on a daily basis to either be ambush predators or be less likely to be a prey item, and applying it to what we know with how the Bigfoots interact with humans, and also how it can apply to other cryptid creatures that we get accounts of. So really it's going to be quite interesting, showing the different pictures and examples of how animals can just very easily blend into their surroundings. Deer, snakes, reptiles, birds,
Yeah, owls. Owls are a good
owls,
example.
Yep.
Do you think Bigfoot changes its colors to blend in with the environment?
I think the Bigfoots have adapted their coats to live in the surroundings that they prefer. So your darker brown, black Bigfoots, they like forested areas because they blend in better with the tree trunks. The gray, slate, silvery, colored Bigfoots, they blend in better with rock formations. So they would probably do better in the mountains. Wheaten colored ones, the reddish colored guys, they like cornfields and wheat fields, and they tend to, like the Ohio grassman, they tend to blend in with those, those type of surroundings. So it's about adapting to their environment and, really, finding an area where they can be the best predators that they can.
Right. And they're in that area long enough, they're going to blend in. Survival of the fittest. So they're
Yeah.
the ones that are going to be surviving. So that trait's going to carry on. Linda, let's talk about some of the other speakers that are going to be at the Discovery Days.
Okay, can you hear me? How's that?
Yeah, it's the same.
Okay, I apologize. I don't know what's going on. I still think it's Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't type yesterday. Yeah, we do. We have Janice as a speaker. Janice is supposed to be here, and she's bringing William Henry with her. Janice is going to speak. That's the 50 years of Bigfoot. And trying to think of the other speaker. Oh, Ron Moorhead. Ron Moorhead is going to be there.
Now, Ron Moorhead, he's an author. He's got a couple books out, apparently, on Bigfoot. Are you read up on him, Shetan?
Yes. I know about his research and what he's accomplished with the Bigfoot investigations and research.
Some of the vocalizations, I believe, he highlights.
Yep, the samurai chatter is the most noteworthy, which is really interesting if you ever get to hear the recordings. It's very different than what we hear with the Ohio howls or a couple of the other howls.
Yeah, I have an example. You did a samurai chatter when you were on one of our shows. You have one that you do, Shetan. Can you do that for us? Come on.
Yeah, we want to hear it.
Well, it's I just kind of like do the fake kung fu movies, but and that's kind of what they, it sounds like.
It sounds like a jabbering, yeah.
I've heard that.
Linda, do you have a whoop or a Bigfoot call that you do when you're out hunting?
Yeah, we do different whoops. Do you want me to do one now?
Yeah, if you got one, yeah, we want to hear it.
Oh, this is awfully loud. Okay.
Okay,
I'll
we'll
try
see what
not to be
happens.
so loud with it.
No, be
We've
loud.
got loud whoops and we've got baby whoops. Woo!
Okay, yeah. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, that's the one I get the most responses from when I do the siren type call.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well,
Yeah, we've got responses up in Mayo, up at Karen from the West Branch Bigfoot Committee. We were at Karen's house one night and I did that and got a call response. I think it sounded, we were thinking it was a good 2 or 3 miles away. This was great. And Phil and them were actually out about a mile away out on a power line when it happened. So we were kind of separated. Our group was split up into 2 that night. But I got the call response, and then one second night, Phil came back to the fire, and everybody went. We went to bed, and we set our vehicles out in the yard. And about 3:00 in the morning, we were at Karen's house. And I don't know if it was the bear or Bigfoot, but I heard a lot of growling and huffing about going on. And according to Karen, they really don't have any bears around where she lives. So we had a recorder out, so I got it on recording. And it sounded like something walked right up to the pine tree that I had my recorder in, and you could hear it growling and huffing and kind of puffing, and it sounded like it was really mad. And Phil was not happy because he slept through the whole thing.
oh,
He was in his truck and didn't wake up.
that's a pretty good story. Sounds like it might have been pretty close. Could you get a scent? Was it stinky?
No, I was inside my car with the windows up and I had been laying down in the back of my car sleeping, and one of the other girls was out, and she actually had a handgun, and she wouldn't get up and out of the car either. I was gonna sit up and get up, and I thought, what if it's a bear? I kind of
Right.
got scared. She still wouldn't get up out of the car.
Yeah.
So much for being huh?
I've asked the question, you know, what do you take for a kit when you're going to hunt Bigfoot? Now, a gun might be a good thing.
Yeah, I don't have a gun. I have a knife, but I don't carry a gun personally. But 2 of my team members have guns.
Phil was suggesting maybe like wasp spray might be a defense.
Pepper spray is a pretty good deterrent. I always tell people, seeing as you're going into the woods and fields anyways, spray yourself down with DEET, because not only will it keep the mosquitoes and ticks off, but it makes you very unpleasant tasting to anything that might want to chew on you.
Oh, that's good advice. Remember
Yeah.
that, Brandon.
Yeah.
Brandon's been up north with Rick Meyer. You guys both know Rick Meyer?
Oh yeah, Rick's a cool guy. Yeah.
And so he was up there training for Bigfoot. So yeah, he needs all this advice. Do you plan on going back this year, Brandon, for
Oh
some
yeah,
more training?
definitely going back up there this fall, probably September or something, I think. Gotta wait till after the camping season's kind of done, so after Labor Day sometime.
And then Jim, what's Jim's
Sherman.
last?
Sherman.
Yeah.
Jim Sherman.
I understand he's pretty comical, quite a character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
he's
very
pretty funny.
entertaining. He's a very good storyteller.
Yeah, we're gonna have those guys on later on in the year, so we're looking forward to that. Now, Phil Shaw has some definite ideas about where Bigfoot hangs out, what he eats. You know, I've been putting some stuff online, and I don't want to be that guy that has to determine what they're eating. I don't know if you saw, I posted something, I reposted something. It was a big pile of BM. And it was apparently, according to Phil, it's aquatic plants mostly that they're eating. And he thinks they're hanging out in the swamps. Of course, Michigan
I
has.
believe that. I think Phil is right.
Okay, then we have a great area in
Yeah.
Michigan as far as the forest, the swamps, the
Mhm.
cornfields, all the fresh water. Yeah, Phil thinks maybe Michigan might be one of the best areas for hunting Bigfoot. What do you guys consider like the other states that are good Bigfoot states to hunt?
Kentucky.
I've heard of.
I think the Great Lakes area as a whole is a pretty good, except for our, if we have a severe winter. But we have fresh water, we have plenty of food, we have shelter. It's a very good area for them to live in. And Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, those are all really good areas for farming, for orchards and corn crops. So they have a good plentiful food supply, because those areas bring in the deer, the rabbits. And so if they are omnivores, which means carnivores, vegetarians, they will use all these different food sources. We also have within the Great Lakes, we have a nice run of salmon and perch and smelt. So those are another food source that they can readily get a hold of.
Yeah, and that's what Phil was saying. He thinks that they're right in the rivers. We have a lot of rivers that run through Michigan. Yeah. Linda, you mentioned Kentucky. They have the bearilla, but I'm not sure if that might be more of a dogman type creature, or some of them just created monsters to keep people away from their stills, I think.
I think
I have not heard of that.
What's the other? There's a funny name.
There's sheep squatch, there's bat squatch, there's the snallygaster is
Yeah, that one, the snallygaster.
And he's more of a dragon type creature. But he was essentially created by the moonshiners to keep the town folk, the law enforcement and the FBI out of the mountain wooded areas where they had their stills, and they would they would explain away the sounds and the smoke from their stills, but saying it was the snallygaster, getting
Yeah.
work.
I love that name. I think they made those stories up to keep the kids under control too, also.
Could
Like,
be. Could
yeah,
be.
you can't go out at night because the monster's gonna get you.
Yep.
I love some of the names. It seemed like Phil had his own pet name. He kept referring to them as apes.
Well, they are considered a primate, but they are unlike the apes that you will see, in the zoos. These are much bigger, and they're walking on, two legs.
And apparently they have a language. I'm not sure about the
Yes,
ape
they
language.
do.
I'm sure they do too, but it sounds like maybe Sasquatch is a little more complicated language. Linda, do you do like knocks when you're out there in the woods too? Wood knocks?
Nope.
Oh, you don't like that approach?
We don't do wood knocks.
Okay.
I actually got better luck with doing calls.
Now there's a whole
So-
list of things that they do, whistles, which people might not think that's something that they would do. And the scream. I'm not sure about the screams. We played a fox screaming
Yes.
when Shetan was in here in this very studio right here that I'm in. And it sounds like it's maybe a little kid like screaming bloody murder. It was scary. It was something when we played that. Yeah.
Foxes make a wide variety of frightening noises.
Yeah, I have I have a family of foxes that live on my property, and they have very interesting vocalizations, but their scream that they do, until you get used to it and you've heard it about 100 times, that first 100 times, especially at night, it catches you off guard, and it just, especially when they wake you up out of a sleep with it, it's like, damn, stop that.
Yeah. I can play a couple, I think Bobo, I have one by Bobo.
That's a samurai chatter.
Samurai
Yep.
Chatter by
Yep.
Bobo right there, right? I'm gonna play that one again. It sounded a lot like yours, Shetan, I thought. Yeah. And then the other one is, see if I hope I got the right one.
Yeah,
That's
that's the
Bo-
Ohio howl.
Okay, and then
That
that's,
sounded like Bobo.
yeah, that's
what they call
Bobo,
the
right?
Ohio.
The second one is a female that's in a competition. Hers was a little higher. She won the competition by doing that one. I think that you would be able to distinguish if you're out in the woods, whether it was a coyote or a wolf or whatever, because they're different than what a wolf makes or a coyote, I think. But there are other things that's what we said that can confuse. These screams that the fox do are very scary and loud, and I could see where that could be confused with it. But there's a definite language out there, and they appear to be intelligent, is what I'm hearing from the Bigfoot people. Very inquisitive, but yet shy at the same time. They'll look in your windows, but yet you can't get too close to them. They're very elusive.
Yes.
How many encounters do you think you've had, Linda?
Oh, for Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Gosh, I never thought about that. I know for sure I've seen one. That was like a classic sighting when I was younger. Other than that, not any face-to-face encounters, but I've had them close enough to me to where they got to our campsite, screamed at us
Oh, right.
at twilight, that kind of thing. And then recently, I've got one on an IR at a cabin. It was hiding in the grass, and you could see the head, and you can see the eyes, and everything in the head and the IR, but you can't see the body because it's down in this really tall grass that surrounded the perimeter of this cabin that we were in. And I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I mean, I can't say for sure. It definitely wasn't a person. Well, this was like, it's pitch black out there. There's no people around. There was 2 girls at this cabin, me and another team member, and I had been doing calls, so we asked for it. We were trying to call something in, and that was the one night. And the other night, we got a pack of, I don't know what they were. At first, I thought they were coyote because I know there's coyote there. But the thing howled, and then 5 seconds later, a whole pack of these things started howling, and they were right by the camp, and they all packed up, and the whole pack took off, and it sounded like coyotes with strep throat or something. They didn't sound normal.
Okay.
And when we heard this, we looked at each other and we're thinking, is that a pack of dogmen? Or something. We don't know. We've never heard coyotes that sounded like this. It was very strange. So that did make us a little leery about running water. That night after that, we kind of stayed up by the cabin. So
Phil's going to be talking about shelters. Apparently, he's come across quite a few. He has pictures of them. Have you come across shelters when you're out hunting Bigfoot?
I think maybe 2 or 3. There's one that we found at this cabin about 50 yards out. My co-team member seems to think that it was probably used for a nursery, maybe at one time. There was the shelter, and then there was a big asterisk right next to it. You could see a big asterisk formation, and I don't know if you know what the asterisk is, but they take the branches and they weave them.
Okay.
And
I've heard
they're
of the
like
weaving.
And they form a big asterisk.
Yeah. Okay. I've heard of the weaving the branches, right?
Yeah.
Shetan, you've been to other states hunting Bigfoot, have you also?
Yeah, I do quite a bit of traveling, and not just Bigfoot, but Dogman, lake monsters. So I'm always looking.
Have you come across structures?
I've come across some interesting things in the woods, and it's, you want to say it's Bigfoot, but you can never discount the human hoaxer element. So I know that nearby where I live in Kensington, I know that a couple of people have found what they thought were tree structures, and but when you do some research into it, you find that it's actually where the Boy Scouts go, and they learn how to build survival structures.
Oh.
So it kind of dismisses the Bigfoot element. I think to truly find the Bigfoot structures, you got to get out deeper into the woods and off the beaten paths, and then hope that you get back after you go looking for them.
Oh yeah. You don't want to get lost in the woods. I've had that happen. That's very scary. Now, I've built structures in the woods for blinds, for deer blinds or turkey blinds. So I know that I've done that, but I haven't gone to remote areas to do it. But some of these structures are like rocks, big rocks piled on top of rocks, other rocks. It's pretty interesting. And then big boulders up in trees, way up in trees.
Yeah.
So,
now those I would attribute to the Bigfoot. but just, a couple of, tree branches, stacked against each other, or, formed into a T or something like that. You can never tell if that's, deadfall, or if it's a human being who's just decided, they're going to have some fun and see if anybody ever, comes across their antics.
Right. And there are hoaxes out there. I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Phil has come across a whole lot of them. Like he says, if someone takes the time to report something, they're probably serious about it. And unfortunately, a lot of these reports, these sightings go unreported. People don't want to be
Right.
that person that gets the label. Maybe they're crazy, or yeah, you're a little bit nuts. You're seeing things in the woods or whatever. You saw an alien or you saw a ghost. They don't want that label of being crazy. I think that's unfortunate, because if they don't come forward, and then we can't put all the pieces together
Right.
like we need to. Yeah, but now, what do we want to go from here? Now, we've talked a little bit about language. We've talked about structure. What about, you think that Bigfoot has any defenses built into their own? I know the smell could be a deterrent. I don't know if that's something that they can spray out like a skunk does, but I've heard that the smell is just terrible.
Sewer.
Like sewer smell?
Sewer smell.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, that's a terrible smell. But what they can do, there's theories about this sound, that they can
Infrasound.
make. Yeah, now
Infrasound.
that would be a good defense there, where they can paralyze. Tigers have the ability, elephants, whales,
Lions have it.
rhinoceros
There's-
have that. So they could very well have that ability, where they can just paralyze people with a very low tone.
Well, let me tell you this story real quick. About 2 autumns ago, paranormal team that I work with, we decided we would investigate here, close by my house at the Howell Theater, which is notorious because it has a ghost lion that lives there.
A what?
A ghost lion. The lion came into town with a circus. For whatever reason, they had to put him to sleep. He was buried behind the theater. So that's where his spirit takes up residence. So as we were given the tour of the theater, the first, few minutes, the guide takes us behind the curtains and screens to where is the back vaudeville theater stage. Well, there's a loft up above that the lion is supposedly, likes to sleep on. So there was about 10 of us, and we all got hit with a blast of infrasound.
Oh,
Now, nobody realized it until everybody started complaining of a very anxious feeling in their chest. And then about 5 minutes later, everybody had their neck and shoulder muscles were in knots. And it took a minute, of everybody complaining. I said, "Oh my gosh, we got hit with infrasound." The lion was mad that we woke it up from a nap, and it hit us with infrasound. And this was a group of 10 people who did not know that this could happen. I knew it because I had done some research into it. And so if a ghost animal
right.
can hit you with a wave that actually causes physical pain and discomfort in 10 different people, imagine what a Bigfoot can do, a flesh and blood creature that is about twice the size of a human, and with more, substance to them. Imagine the kind of sound that they can produce and hit people with.
Right. I brought up with Phil that they use sound to melt my nerves in my back for pain. So if sound
Yeah.
can melt
Yeah.
your flesh can, if they have that ability, I would think that would be a real good defense for them. You talked about camouflage.
Yeah.
That would be a defense for them. And I'm not sure if the skunky smell would be a defense, but it would let you know they're around at least. I think that could be important.
Well, most people don't stay around in an area when they smell skunk.
Right.
I for one generally try to get away from the area that I'm smelling the skunk smell because I don't want to be skunk. So that right there should be a pretty good deterrent. To get away with from people with.
Right.
I know
Is-
Doug Hycheck was I just interviewed him a couple of weeks ago, but he and I were discussing a scent he's creating. It's called Stink Stank Stunk. And it's actually the essence of Bigfoot, so that you can, people are going to try to use this to draw Bigfoots into the area. And I said, well, do you have I said, seeing as you're formulating this and it's based off of skunk, which is an oil-based scent, I said, do you have the de-skunk recipe? He said, what's that? I said, it's something that groomers have been using for about 20 years now. So I sent him the recipe. He said, I didn't even know that existed. I said, you're welcome. Because if you have any accidents in the lab, you're going to want that formula.
Yeah, no doubt. They say that sightings go back centuries. They're worldwide on every continent except Antarctica. So Bigfoot's been around and been seen for every place for years. It just, Linda, you talked about how you thought maybe this one structure you came onto was maybe where they had babies. That's what I'm saying. They need a place to have babies, because first time we talked with Phil, he's going, well, I don't think they need structure too much because, they're hairy and they don't need a whole lot of cover. But I think babies need cover. They need a nest somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were thinking this might have been for a nursery, like for a newborn, like for a very young baby, a place of shelter. It was a structure that was teepeed up against a tree, that type of structure where you see where they come down off the tree. And I mean, it obviously it was placed. At that time, we had a team member with us. This was during the daytime, and he was still there. Jeff was with us, and he's an expert woodsman. And he even said that everything looked placed. The asterisk, everything looked placed. None of this was deadfall. Most of the stuff you find in town is deadfall. And yeah, if it's in a highly populated area where there's a lot of people, you question, whether kids dead and people placed it there. But when you're out in the woods where these things are, and the area that we were in, we already know that the Bigfoots are there because we've already had experiences there in this area. So we know there's that lives there. This was the first time to be at that cabin though for us. And we actually were only probably a mile from a different area that we have been researching for the last couple of years. So we know there's a clan in the area. And that's why I was trying to see if I could call this clan over. I believe that after they see you every year, they see you for a couple of weeks, I think they can remember you.
Right.
I believe they remember my vehicle, my car, because they've been up around my car in the summertime. I think they remember things. I think they're just as intelligent as humans, and they have the capabilities just like humans do.
Yeah, I think that's why,
my own belief, hypothesis.
I think that's why they're not ending up in traps, is because they're smarter than that. But what would be a good bait if you want to attract a Bigfoot? What's the best way to attract a Bigfoot? What's your good bait? Women and children?
It's not advisable. I would never use kids.
Yeah.
I would have children, but I think they're attracted to women. That when women are out, researchers are out by themselves, it seems like we get more activity than we do when the guys are with us.
Okay. Shetan, what do you think's good Bigfoot bait?
Oh,
Pardon me?
I'm asking Shetan what she thinks is good Bigfoot bait.
I would think food items that they can only
Right.
get once or twice a year are probably pretty popular, especially if you put some thought into the migratory paths of following the food crops around the state as they become available. So if you know that they are particularly fond of different types of fruit, putting those available when they're out of season, that could possibly get their attention. But I think using different primate calls would probably be also a way of getting some attention from them. There's so many different calls. You can just go to a zoo with a recorder and walk around the different primate enclosures, and you'll pick up different sounds, different noises that they make, and then just using those to see what kind of response you get.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. The food, hunting deer and bear, I've hunted that, and sometimes they allow baiting, sometimes they don't. But it seems like with Bigfoot, there aren't really any restrictions as far as what you can do. I'm interested. Linda's from Oklahoma. That's where they just came up with this bill to have a Bigfoot season and sell licenses to hunt Bigfoot. Now, I was pretty upset about that when I first read it, and then I read into it more, and it's to trap Bigfoot, not to kill Bigfoot. Because I think
it's not to kill.
Right. They need stuff to protect Bigfoot and other cryptids, not have people out there ready to shoot them. There should not be a reward if you shoot something like that. It should be a big fine.
No.
Right.
And if anybody's injured, they cannot collect the reward either.
If they're what?
If there are any injuries in the capture of the Bigfoot, then they cannot collect the reward. So no people can be injured, or the Bigfoot can't be injured, but supposedly no people can be injured in this expedition also, or you cannot collect the reward money.
Okay, so you being from your home state, Oklahoma, you've read into this then.
Yeah.
You checked it out. Well, cool.
Oh, the guy that came up with this bill, I mean, he put a target on himself. Target. There's a lot of people that they are really upset with this guy.
Oh yeah. I was upset.
And they're not happy.
Yeah, I was upset about it. Yeah. And something that we talked about is like Phil talked about, he found some hair or some scat. Now, what do we do with it? Do we have the funds to actually take this somewhere and get it tested? And I wondered, is there a fund for Bigfoot for something like that? And I read up on it a little bit. One guy made a living, $80,000 to $100,000 a year hunting Bigfoot. And he had an arrangement with one of the universities that they could take evidence there and then they would examine the evidence for them. But is there a fund out there, a general fund that you guys are putting money into so you can get things tested? No
Not
fund?
that I'm aware of.
I don't think so. A lot of people think that it's inexpensive to do this DNA testing, eDNA testing, and it's really not. If you have a network behind you that wants evidence to showcase on TV or these streaming services, the sky is the limit for how many samples you can have processed and identified. But really, when you're in the field and you're a field researcher, you really have to know what you're looking at in order to save yourself, time and misery of, oh, hey, that's a dog here, that's canine, or
that big pile of poo is not what you think it is.
Right.
I'm hoping that there is a fund, that there will be one in the future, so people that can get their evidence checked out, whether it's nationally or locally, whatever. But we need to move on with the show. We can get into the final parts of the show, get into shout outs. Our last guest here was Marie Cisneros with Paranormal Muskegon. Yep, our friend now. And she was interesting. You never know what Marie's going to talk about, because I mean, she does the whole paranormal and Bigfoot too. I said, you need to do Bigfoot. She goes, she wasn't sure of any sightings in Muskegon area, but there have been some Bigfoot sightings in the Muskegon area, I know. So shout out to her. And then Mama Mary Bassett with Cryptic Frequencies. We tried to zoom over to the UK with Paranormal Path, Jacqueline Dixon, and we tried to do it with Zoom with Todd Clements, but we're not getting that out. So I don't know if anyone's ever going to see that show. I'm not sure. And then I had someone send me a book. You know, we love promoting authors. First of all, here's a couple books you might recognize. Mothman by none other than Shetan Noir. And this one is the Lake Monsters and Creatures of the Great Lakes, also authored by Shetan Noir. We like to feature these two books when you're on. I know you have other books out there, but those are the two that we like to feature. But someone sent me this book, The Feminine Macabre.
Yep, I have people who asked me to contribute. I just didn't have the time because I
to write something for it.
Yeah, I
Oh, that's too
didn't have
bad.
the time to get a piece in there, just because I write so much for the magazines that I write for. I just didn't have time to get anything in there for it.
That's too bad, because this is all female authors. This whole book, female authors, and it's all different subjects. So I'm several chapters into it already, but the person that sent it to me, she's got a chapter in here on a V. It's some kind of a spirit box. I don't know if Brandon's familiar with this type of spirit box or not. It's a VR ghost box, they call it. And so that's what her chapter is about. So I love this book. Like I say, I'm several chapters into it already. Then upcoming and ongoing. Now, of course, the big thing is the Bigfoot Discovery Days, May 15th.
Yep.
Now, that's the big thing, that Shetan's going to be there. Linda's going to be emceeing that for them. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be out in the park. So come to that. You don't have to worry about distancing. You're outside already. So unless you're over there on the ship with Brandon, you can go to the Bigfoot.
Well, we even got Bigfoot ones there too, because we got Rich is going to be speaking at ours too.
Oh,
we'll get some Bigfoot stuff there too.
Okay. And then I mentioned Oklahoma had their Bigfoot thing already. And then Shetan's got another one she's going to be at, and that's the Michigan Bigfoot Conference. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. That one is going to be July 18th in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It is being hosted by the Lost Cryptids Conservancy, and we have quite a nice lineup of presenters. We have two different ballrooms or convention rooms. So one track of speakers is strictly Bigfoot, and then the other track is paranormal. I think we have a UFO person. Lots of vendors, and it's in Ann Arbor, so easy to get to from any different point in the state. And that like I said, that will be July 18th. But we have speakers for Bigfoot, Ken Gearhart, Adam Davies. Those are two very well-known cryptozoologists. So they will be there. I will be presenting also at that conference. So come on out and enjoy it. And then the weekend after the May Bigfoot West Branch event, I will be in Houghton Lake at the Haunted Heights Paracon. Rhonda Spears, she'll be putting that on. So I will be there presenting, and other than that, I will be traveling, doing expeditions, headed to Vermont for Champ, the lake monster there, and Gettysburg and West Virginia, and who knows where else.
Well, you'll be back here in May.
Yep.
We'll be talking with you in May. May is for us is authors. It's you and Exie Susan Smith, a couple great authors for that month here. And then the Bigfoot, the Michigan Bigfoot Conference, you have Michigan speakers and national speakers.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's going to be a fun time. And then 2021 UP Bigfoot Conference is Saturday, August 14th at St. Ignace. So that's another one that's upcoming. Linda, do you have anything else planned besides emceeing at your Bigfoot Discovery Days?
Well, after the conference is over, some of us plan on going out on a little expedition. We're going to make up there, our base camp, and we plan on going out into the field, hopefully both with Ron Moorhead and Janice Carter.
Cool. That sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking forward, I think, more to that than the conference itself.
Yeah, I think, that sounds like fun to me too. Right.
Yeah.
Now, we like to do a final thought, and right now at the theater, the big thing is Godzilla versus Kong. So I want to scale that down some and go Bigfoot versus Dogman. Who wins? Who wins? Bigfoot versus Dogman. Brandon, you want to start? Oh, Linda wants to start. She says Bigfoot's going to win that one.
Yep, Bigfoot.
What do you think?
Right here.
Yeah,
Here's
Brandon, what do you think? Who's going to win that one and why?
It's tough to say because I don't really know as much about Dogman, but I think Bigfoot has some advantages, but I think Dogman seems like it might be more vicious, so it's hard to, might not be the size of the dog in the fight with the fight in the dog. I don't know.
Maybe, right. Now, Shetan, she got both sides of this because she's the North American Bigfoot person from Michigan. So
North American Dogman Project.
Or Dogman,
So
right.
I'm going to say it would be Dogman because they hunt in packs. And one Bigfoot versus a equally sized canine version of itself might be, an equal battle, but pit him against 5 Dogmen and we'll see who comes out on top.
Yeah, see.
Well, that's not even odds.
I know. And that was going to be my answer too, because I don't think Dogman's going to play fair. Linda, you even said they travel in a pack. So Dogman's going to start out and he's vicious. He's not eating aquatic plants. He's tearing flesh. So yeah, I have to go with Dogman on that one.
Most of us believe, the researchers believe that Bigfoot usually is not alone either, though. You might see, but there's probably more around that you're not seeing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, they may, and they start howling. They could end up with more than one Bigfoot also. But I think for sure, Dogman's not going to play fair, right?
No.
So it's an inspirational thought, and then the show is over. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining this. The inspirational thought comes from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and Emerson said, "Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." You women have been blazing a trail, and I appreciate it. I appreciate your effort. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. Brandon, he's a trailblazer. He's been doing the ghost hunting, turned into a paranormal investigator now for a decade. So nothing but trailblazers here on the screen. I appreciate that. Thanks so much, everybody.
Bye.
Peace
You're welcome.
out.
Thank you.
Family-owned Palermo Pizza underwrites this episode of Grand Rapids Ghost Hunters Paranormal Podcast, located at 901 Gazan Parkway, Southwest Wyoming, and available at 616-531-8300.
The opinions expressed in the preceding program are those of the producer and not necessarily those of WKTV Community Media.